Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq, with daily insight on the Nasdaq-100 Index, or the NDX, which is made up of 100 of the largest domestic and international non-financial innovative companies listed on the Nasdaq stock market. The NDX has been the barometer for U.S. large-cap growth and also one of the best-performing indexes over the last decade and a half, not to mention one of the most liquid index ecosystems in the world. Joining me this first trading day of 2021 is Chris Dearborn, Managing Director of Nasdaq's Market Intelligence Desk, for an update on Nasdaq-100 levels, and looks as if the markets are taking a breather on day one of the year.
Jill, good to see you. Happy New Year to everybody. It is absolutely a broad red tape today across the board, all sectors being affected by that. But it really comes as no surprise as we hit all-time highs on the 31st, right? The NDX hit a high of 12,888. You know, that's 48% return for the year. You know, if you would have told me in March that after the COVID lows that we would see a 48% return in this index, regardless of what happened, I would have called that a very unfair joke. And to make it even better, from the COVID lows, you're up over 85%. It's really astonishing here. And growth is absolutely outperforming value here. And that, of course, lends itself directly to the NDX with its large cap tech weighting.
This is exactly why we tell long-term investors it's hard to time this market. Staying long and strong typically works out for the longer-term retail investors. So, Chris, let's take a look at our first chart today with some fresh levels as we get close to the end of the first trading session of the year.
Right. We hit a little bit more of a higher high today, 12,950. We opened up nicely. It's a really kind of a little bit of euphoric starting out from that, but then the selling started right away. What's interesting here, when you look at the relative strength index, the RSI, we've been peaking out between 65 and 70 for all of last week, and we finally declined to a 55 level, showing that that overbought condition, that window dressing perhaps into year end, is starting to fade a little bit and will start trading on its own merits again. But interestingly, if you look at the RSI over the course of December, the average RSI reading is well above 70. It's 73 on average for the month. We did see some dips into the 60s, but we saw a lot of elevated levels here, telling you that the entire month the index was pretty much overbought. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback here. The 50-day moving average stands at 1216, 12,600, sorry. And with that, you know, a lot of room between here and there. Even a pullback to the 50-day, though sounds significant, it's really not that big of a deal. We'd like to see some support, come back in, regroup, and then move higher. And with that, the index is going to probably bounce around in here, depending on what happens on tomorrow with the Georgia elections. We'll take a few days to figure out what happens with that, with the implications there in the Senate, and also what's moving forward with the vaccinations. Hopefully that gets back on track. There's a lot of more macro imposed news than really stock specific to begin the month.
All right, Chris, in our final chart here, we take a look at the individual constituents showing some outperformance this afternoon.
Yeah, the movers as are expected here, right? The downside comes with Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, even Comcast taking away 10 points. You add those four together there, and you're looking at almost 90 points shaved off of the index. On the plus side, Tesla's having another tremendous day, you know, topping 730 today at one point, adding 20 points to the index. You know, that stock's firing on all cylinders. The expectations there for all EV manufacturers is that there's going to be significant demand coming for the next 4 years with this presidency, and that's going to bode well for that sector. So look for that sector to continue to outperform.
All right, Chris, great to have you back as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.